So we mentioned Uranus moving through the eighth house, etc. Now Jupiter, a planet of abundance and just expansion, etc., is going to start making some motions through the eighth house as well. It has been in his seventh house of relationships and other people, in business relationships, in marriage, etc., since about April 2009. So, um, actually, yeah, no, since about February 2009. I'm sorry. See, Mercury retrograde affects me as well. I get things a little bit confused here, but yeah, February 2009 is about when Jupiter crossed into his seventh house. So from February 2009 all the way through the end of January here, 2010, has been a time of Jupiter in the seventh house. And usually, how this operates is we run into people that can really expand our horizons, whether it's meeting a romantic interest that helps us out, a business interest, whatever it is, there's something that enters our lives or someone that enters our lives that somehow, to us, at least from our perspective, seems to expand our possibilities. Okay? And so he's no doubt had some experiences like that over the last year or so, since February 2009, like we said. More specifically, um, Venus here in his chart, since from about April 2009 through just about November 2009. So April to November 2009. This period, Jupiter was right on his natal Venus. So you can see that right about here. Jupiter was just hovering right over that. And what that was doing with Venus ruling his 10th house of career and honors and reputation, it was expanding a sense of what he can be in the world. What is his image in the greater world? And so there was some sense that, whoa, I never thought of this before. You know, I could be this. And so this, again, over the last year or so, not quite a year, but April to November of 2009, this has been this experience of expanded sense of what he can be in the world. And this is an inner process, obviously, but how that's manifested outward is up to how he's taken this energy and then developed it. Now what Jupiter is doing is it's about to exit the seventh house in late January, okay? And then it'll be in the eighth house. It'll kind of cruise right on through the eighth house, all the way through. And by the time we get to June, it'll be out of his eighth house and into his ninth house. It'll backtrack again through most of the summer. But the point is, when it's going through his eighth house, it's going to attach itself or make aspects to those same planets that Uranus made aspects to that we talked about. So all the things in the eighth house as well as those things in the second house, all those money related things. And so Jupiter, this planet of expansion and opportunity, etc., this will start making its trek to the eighth house, again, starting in January. But it won't be until about late March to early April that it will oppose that Pluto-Uranus conjunction in his second house. So this sense is revolutionary within him, gets a zap around late March to early April. So the way I see this, and again, is a lot of just kind of sitting and waiting for the next couple of months, okay, till about late March. So really this time period, January, February, even most of March, is a lot about holding back, gathering, etc. Then come about April. This is when a lot of things just come to be. Mars will cross the ascendant in April in a forward motion. Jupiter will oppose this Pluto-Uranus conjunction. Then it will conjunct Saturn in the eighth house. Okay, this will expand opportunities for service and work, so clientele possibly, or other ways of putting himself out there in a service-based way. Then it will make a conjunction to Mercury. So that same planet that Uranus has been hitting the last year or so with all these new ideas and new creative things that are coming to him gets expanded even more. Okay, it gets expanded further, and that's something that's going to, when it kicks in, it'll last for most of 2010, from late spring, about April, May 2010, through the fall of 2010. So this really is a time of blossoming a lot of those creative ideas that have come to him since last spring, since the spring of 2011. And so most of the second half of 2010 will be trying to blossom some of those things. Then we get into June 2010, and this is when Jupiter and Uranus, who you might be thinking to yourself, well, if Uranus went to the eighth house and Jupiter is about to catch up to it, they must meet each other somewhere, And you're right, they're going to meet each other in early Aries, the sign of Aries, which in this case is in the beginning part of his ninth house. The ninth house is the house of publishing, media, writing, teaching, speaking, all these kind of things. He has his Sun and Mars, natally speaking, up here in the ninth house. Okay, and so when Uranus, which is here, Jupiter, which right now is right here, but it will meet up, they'll both kind of meet up right about there. When they meet up in his ninth house, this is an opportunity period. Okay, this will last from about June through the end of 2010. This is an opportunity to expand a lot of media, a lot of writing, teaching, speaking possibilities in this person's life. Jupiter will also be making a square to his natal Jupiter. Okay, his natal Jupiter, where it was when he was born, in other words, is up here in his 11th house in Gemini. And so when Jupiter's here, it'll be making a 90-degree angle. And so what this can often reveal is a period of taking on a little more than we can handle or biting off a little more than we can chew. So as someone who is in Aries here with Leo rising, I can almost picture this person saying, hey, bring it on. I'll take it. I'll take as much as I can get. So this isn't someone who's going to be timid about taking on more than they can handle. But the sense is, there is an awful lot of opportunity for things to happen in this case. And the whole time Jupiter is going through the 8th house of other people's money and support from others, this is an expanded opportunity to get this support from others. So if this individual, like it sounds like they're kind of waiting to hear if someone is going to support them, it might take some more waiting. But it sounds like eventually, whether it's this person or another person, there's going to be some financial support there. There's going to be some ability to expand this media or writing or whatever this person's goals are in that realm of getting their voice out there to the greater public in some form. This is going to get wings. Let's put it that way. It's going to be given wings during this period. Okay. And so it's all about how this individual handles it. And so the final thing we'll talk about here is Saturn, another planet that's about to go retrograde. This happens every year, so it's not a huge deal, but just about where it's happening. Saturn is in his 3rd house currently. Just making a brief respite in his 3rd house. There it is. My finger's right on it. It'll be going back into his 2nd house up here for a time. And again, that's the house of earned income and resources. So again, from April till about July, a time to finally structure the financial resources, which since about, I want to say fall of 2007, when the finances kind of, he had to get serious about finances at that time period. That's when Saturn entered the 2nd house. Now it's kind of like leaving that period and say, all right, I have it under control. I'm doing something that is helping me get my finances under control. And so that's what this general feel is. It's kind of, wait, gather for the next couple of months. Then, especially late March, especially April, really highlighted. And that general time frame into the summer is a time when things are starting to nail down. And the whole time period from the spring to the fall is expanded opportunities for support from others. Support that can include financial support as well, and opportunities to get his voice out there. Okay, and so that will wrap this up, this edition of On the Spot. If you are interested in your own On the Spot, let me know. All I ask of you is a testimonial of what the experience was like, how accurate it was, how far off it was. Just that is what I'm looking for, and I can put you on the spot as well. So with that, thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you again.